Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4, the topic of drinks. I love this topic. I think I say this every day, don't I? I love this topic, but I think this is such a good one to really work on for many of us because it's these drinks that can have a huge impact on your results. And if we look at the different categories, it's in the different scales. If we've got the thing that's going to help your weight loss, the water, huge. Then we've got the things that can harm your weight loss, possibly caffeine and alcohol. So knowing how to work all of these categories are really, really important when weight loss is your goal. And not just weight loss, but also gut health. Um, I have had so many people over the years whose journeys have changed and results have changed phenomenally when they put their effort and focus into the drinks side of this. So I think it's a really, really important thing to get right. So what I'm going to do in this live, I've had a few questions emailed through. So I thought I might just sort of do it in 3 categories. I'm going to start with the really good one, the water. Then we're going to talk about caffeine. We're going to talk about Coke Zero. So that brilliant question, or was it emailed through to me? Anyway, a fantastic question about Coke Zero, and Coke Zero gets talked about a lot. So let's talk about that. And then I'm going to talk about alcohol. And just a quick disclaimer before I get started, let me just say that in this office of Why Weight Nutrition, some weeks we talk more about alcohol than we do about food. So it is a biggie. I'm going to give you my take on it. You might not like it, but if you want to move forward, I just want to share a different way of looking at alcohol, which I hope will help you make better choices in the future, okay? If you are somebody who likes to drink. Right, but let's start with the most important one of all, the water. Why is it that something that's free and is so beneficial is hard for us to do? It's a very, very fascinating thing for me, our relationship with water, and I know that it all comes down to habit. Every week in the 4-week program, we do a Zoom call, and on Tuesday night there was 5 or maybe 6 ladies on the call in total. Anyway, on the call, I make everyone, we talk about what our big key action is for the week, and I said, what's the one thing you want to nail? And the answer, everybody said the same thing: water. I'm not drinking enough water. I know I need to drink more water. And it really, really is quite a common thing. And it is so important. You've got to think of water like your fat burning engine. I mean, the oil for your fat burning engine, because as your body is metabolizing fat, as it's getting rid of that fat, burning fat, you need to get rid of it. And water coming out in your pee, it comes out in our sweat, it actually comes out in our breath as well. Gross. But as your body's processing fat, it needs fluid, so you need water to be able to burn fat. But there's a bigger reason, and actually the caffeine challenge comes into this as well: stress. Our bodies are about 70% water, so within our cells, our cellular structure. And as we know, if we don't drink water, we get stuck in the desert and we don't drink water, we will die quite quickly. Water is incredibly important. So if we're not drinking water or drinking enough water, that is going to impact your body's stress level. Now, we don't know this because we're just carrying on about our business and we might feel a bit thirsty, but anyway, onwards we go, busy, busy, busy. But internally, your body's got the bloody alarms going off because there's not enough water. So your body will be recalibrating, moving some over to there. All of this is stressful, and all of this takes energy. Now, we do not want to be wasting energy recalibrating fluid levels, do we? No, we want to save our energy so that our body's got energy to burn fat. So you not drinking enough water is stealing precious resources from the job you want your body to do: burn fat. And it can't do everything, especially as we get older. Because remember, we also want it to, detoxify, please. Can you please burn through the alcohol I had last night? Oh, I've got a whole lot of hormones going on too. Going through perimenopause. Oh, can you please also, liver, can you please detox all of my hormones and do all of that? And I've got a million things going on in my mind. So this body is under stress. So you want to do everything you can to minimize stress, and drinking enough water is one of the top things on the list. Drinking enough water and going to bed on time. It's not how long you sleep, I haven't even talked about sleep in this 5 days, but really it's not how long you sleep, it's what time you go to bed. Massive, massive impact in your nutrition, your health, your weight loss, and your appetite regulation. So, this is something you've got to get right. Now, I want to share with you my 2-for-1 habit. This is something, there's actually 2 habits that I've used that have enabled me to really nail the water drinking. So, I don't even think about it. It just happens automatically. Now, I love hot drinks. Like today's topic of caffeine is right up my alley. I am a caffeine addict. I'm quite happy to admit that. I've given up sugar. I've given up alcohol. But I am not going to give up caffeine because we've got to have some joy somewhere, right? And I do really enjoy a hot drink. But I've got to earn that hot drink. So what I do is, when I've just finishing my cup of tea, when the jug is boiling, I'm getting my big water mug. And while the jug's boiling, I'm drinking a whole cup. So I'm earning my tea by having this much water, which is nearly 500 mils. There's nearly 2 cups in here. I'm drinking that while the jug's boiling. Then when I make my tea, I get the same cup and fill it up with boiling water. So I'll have this cup of tea. In fact, it's nearly finished. It's a bit cold. Now that that's finished, I've got my lukewarm water here. So before I drink anything else, I've got to drink this. So you can see that for that 1 cup of tea, I've earned 4 cups of water without even thinking about it, and that's just a habit. So that is how I'm replacing any potential impact from the caffeine in the tea, which is a bit of a diuretic. I'll talk about that more when I talk about caffeine. I'm replacing that, I'm upping my water, and it's all just habit. I don't think about this, I just do it. The minute I turn the jug on, I go fill up my cup. It's habit, and this is the key with water. You've got to make it a habit. So that's my 2-for-1 habit if you're someone who likes hot drinks. The other habit that's been very useful is taking a water bottle with me in the car. Now, no matter where I go, even if it's just down to the dairy, every time I get in the car, I have a water bottle. And what I do is if I'm stopped either at a roundabout or the lights, I drink. Now, that is a very powerful habit because as we know, if you live in a city, you're stopped quite a lot. Stopped in traffic, oh, let's drink some water. Stopped at the lights, let's drink some water. The only negative thing about it is that whenever I arrive at my destination, I have to go to the toilet straight away. Like it's normally like, hi, okay, where's the toilet? You know, because I've been drinking in the car. But I get a lot of water in the car, and especially when my kids were young. Not so much now because Mr. 18 drives himself everywhere. Mummy, the mum taxi isn't quite as busy, which is good, of course. But yeah, when my kids were younger, man, you're in the car all the time, you're drinking the water. It's a great habit. So think of how you could maybe incorporate water as a habit into your day. Is it that you set an alarm on your phone? You know, oh, water, time to drink. Because the key thing with a habit, of course, is it's just a matter of getting that established. Once you've got your habit going, you don't have to think about it anymore. You'll be chugging back the water, peeing all that fat out. Yahoo, the more you drink, the more you shrink. Okay, caffeine. Now, in this, of course, comes the topic of coffee. My favorite topic in the world. As I've said, I get up very early, before 5 usually. So I think the thing that actually gets me out of bed is the thought of how much I'm looking forward to coffee. And I'm not exaggerating. I love coffee. I get beautiful, strong coffee from Brazil. My husband's Brazilian, and there's this beautiful coffee that a New Zealand company imports. So we get that. I do it through the drip filter. It's so dark. It's like drinking tar. I'm telling you, that I'm sure that gets everything going within me. It's very strong. I love it. And I'm going to show you what I drink with my milk. So I love this product, the half and half. Half milk, half cream. I find it foams up really nicely in the little foamer. So I don't use too much because, of course, it is a bit higher in calories. But it doesn't have too many carbs. So in my little milk foamer, I use a bit of this. And then I use the All Pro coconut milk. I put that in the handout today. These barista-style plant-based milks are brilliant for a nice coffee because they foam up really well and they're just a lot lower in carbs. So compared to milk, which has got, 12 grams of sugar. God, I'm struggling to read. I need my glasses again. Getting old. Per cup. This has only got 6 or 7. So it's much lower, and plus I don't use a cup anyway. I'm only using a little bit, and it foams up. It's lower in calories. So I find this works really nicely for my daily coffee, and that's a good option. Almond milk's fine. Soy milk's fine. Coffee with cream is brilliant if you just add that dash of cream. The only time you want to watch the cream is if you don't have a lot of weight to lose and you're drinking, I don't know, 2 or 3 coffees a day. I have had a few clients who are just having too many calories with that cream. So what I get them to do is measure it out, one couple of tablespoons, because 2 tablespoons of cream is 30 mils. That's 100 calories, So you've got to be a little bit careful with the cream if you're being quite generous and just dolloping it in. Fine if you're seeing a result, but if you're not, cut back a little bit and just start measuring and see if that makes a difference, because I think you'll find it will. And of course, as I mentioned in the workbook, we've got these lovely sugar-free sachets. So if you can find something like this, it just makes it easy. I mean, a flat white, if you had it from a cafe, would have, 12 or 13 grams of sugar with all that milk. These have got 3 grams of carb, 1.6 gram of sugar. So these are brilliant little sachets, much cheaper too, right? One box is less than the price of a flat white now. So a much better cost-effective option too. And I quite like I have my Brazil coffee in the morning. Sometimes in the afternoon, I do a little pick-me-up and I have one of these, or I'll just use half the sachet with a bit of instant. And of course, the other fun thing you can do, which is what I mentioned yesterday in the workbook, you can add these to yogurt and make a little mocha mousse. Yum! And I'll do that sometimes. I add this yogurt, mocha mousse, yummy, yummy. You just want that little something that tastes like a beautiful coffee flavored pudding. I think the thing with caffeine, and this is where it is an individual thing and it's much different from alcohol, but caffeine, the challenge is it can increase cortisol, and this is where it can be a bit of an issue with your fat burning. Now, it's unlikely this is going to be an issue for you in your everyday life, but if you're going through a very, very stressful stage and you feel like your cortisol is high, you're taking good action and you're not losing weight or burning fat, it might be that your high stress hormone is having an impact. Because when your body's very stressed, when your cave woman is worried that survival is at risk, which of course it's not, but we know that it's modern day stress, but your body just knows that the shit's hit the fan and she's not sure why. But if your cortisol goes high, your inner cave woman is going to be saying, right, my survival is at risk. And anytime your body thinks your survival is at risk, it's going to hold on to this beautiful survival store for dear life. So this is where stress is a problem. Now, in my whole time I've coached, which is 13 years, I reckon there's probably 2 people who I've recommended to cut back on caffeine due to stress, and it worked. It did work. But it's something that I don't often suggest, because usually when someone's really stressed, there are a lot more actions they can take which are beneficial to get fat burning going. Cutting caffeine is quite low on the risk, to be honest. So I wouldn't panic about it. Of course, the other issue is gut health. Coffee is acidic, so if you're struggling with your gut, you're trying to heal your gut, maybe cut back on that. It is something that could have an impact. And also, if you don't have the genes to tolerate caffeine, and you'll know that because you drink caffeine and you get a bit edgy, then of course, cut back. Listen to your body. I know I don't have that because I can drink a coffee at 8 o'clock at night and go to sleep and sleep perfectly. So I'm not that I do very often, of course. But yeah, I think we do know, you can feel it in your body if you're a bit sensitive to caffeine. But yeah, that is the risk with caffeine. It's the cortisol. Now, another topic that comes into the caffeine is Coke Zero. And I had the question that said, do I need to give up Coke Zero because I'm a little bit addicted to it and I really like it? Do I have to give it up? Here's my take on it. In the short term, no. In fact, if you're just starting out low carb and you're making some big changes with your food, I would actually recommend you don't give it up, to be honest, because if it's something you enjoy, I want you to get pleasure in the beginning, especially if you're making a lot of changes with your food, because we need to enjoy what we're doing so we don't quit, because ultimately that's the goal. If you enjoy what you're doing and you don't quit, you're going to get to your goal. That's how you're going to lose the weight, because you don't quit. So in everybody's questions and answers, it's kind of like, well, if that means you're not going to quit, then do it. Because if you don't quit, you will win. So in the beginning, if you really enjoy Coke Zero, and I know that some people do, every time people are addicted to drinks, it's always Coke, right? It's not bloody lemonade or sugar-free Fanta. There's some shit in that Coke. We all know it. There's something about that Coke Zero that's just a little bit yummy. So in the short term, keep the Coke, focus on the food. Just get your food right. Now, where it can be a problem is in two areas: gut health. If you're bloated, if you're getting bloated, again, if you've got issues with your gut and you're drinking a lot of Coke Zero, I would definitely recommend to at least cut back on it because it is super acidic. We've all seen those experiments where Coke rots a piece of money or something like that. Well, let's face it, it is acidic, so it could be damaging your gut. So definitely be aware of that. And there is another challenge as well. And this would actually apply not just to Coke, but really to any sugar-free beverage, even potentially this one, to be honest, the sugar-free coffees, or Red Bull, anything that tastes sweet. There are some studies that show that people who gain weight really easily, people who will make a comment like, I only have to look at food and I gain weight. Well, they're probably right. And it's because what makes us gain weight is when our pancreas pushes out this insulin, right? As I've talked about, the hormone insulin, which removes sugar from your blood. But if your insulin's high, you're not going to burn fat, because when insulin's high, your body thinks, right, well, I must have energy here. So I'm gonna hold on to fat. I don't need to burn fat because we've got enough energy. Thank you, body. So insulin is key. Now, let's just say I go into a bakery, and I don't even look at food in the bakeries, ladies, because I think of myself like a Clydesdale horse. When I go into the bakery, I don't look. I've got my blinkers on. I don't look at the food. You know why? If I start looking at the food, I almost start salivating. It's like food porn. Some of those bakeries, all those cream donuts, and I'm like, oh, yum, I could eat that. Oh, you're starting to get a bit excited. I'm sure my body pushes out a bit of insulin, because I gain weight easily. And the same thing might be happening when you put that sweet Coke in your mouth. So you put that sweet Coke in your mouth, right, which doesn't have sugar. So you think, I'm being so clever, woo. But your body just tastes sweet. That's what our tongue's there for, right? To tell your tummy what's coming. So you taste sweet and your body says, whoa, okay, we've got some sugar coming. Okay, come on, let's go, pancreas, let's get some insulin. Now that hits your tummy, and we're very smart saying, oh, I fooled you. It's not really sugar. It's actually sugar-free something. But too late. You've already got the insulin. You've already, the damage. I mean, it might not be as bad as if it was real sugar, but it might be causing some damage. So this is what this individuality thing that applies to all of us comes into play. And what I say to people is, if they're drinking Coke Zero and the weight loss isn't happening, it's slowing down, they're plateauing, we cut it out. We cut out any artificially sweetened product and we see if it makes a difference, and usually it does. So my advice around Coke is, yes, we could take the moral high ground and say, oh, look, you shouldn't drink it because, it's bad for your gut. And I'm sure there's lots of articles on the internet that can tell you why you shouldn't drink Coke. I don't agree with that. I think it comes down to you, how your body reacts, how important it is to you. And if you enjoy it and it means that you're going to stay on track and not shove a whole cream donut in your face, then drink it. But if you suspect it's either irritating your gut or it's impacting your result, that's the time when I'd recommend you might be willing to rip that Band-Aid off and stop having it, or at least cut really back on it and see if that helps you. I hope that helps. It's a topic I talk about a lot. And look, I'm not going to lie, I'm quite a fan of the old Coke Zero myself. When I gave up alcohol, that was kind of the deal that I made with myself. I said, look, Cheryl, if you're not going to drink, you have full permission to drink anything you want. You could even go and drink a full strength Coke, which I wouldn't. But, if you're not drinking alcohol, that's such a win. So just drink whatever. And if we go out for dinner and there's not, I quite like a lime soda. But if there's nothing, I'll have a Coke Zero and I bloody enjoy it. But it doesn't happen too often. And I don't have an issue with that. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be happy and to fit our pants. That is my purpose in life. Don't know about you, but like I say to my clients all the time, I'm not trying to win the gold medal for the perfect plan of eating. I'm not a gold. I'm probably not even a silver. But you know what? I'm at my goal. I'm at my goal weight pretty much all the time. Although I am trying to lose a kilo at the moment. I'm there and I've been there for 23 years. Good enough. Good enough. That's a solid bronze as far as I'm concerned. That's all that matters. Okay, another quick question about caffeine. Does black tea count towards my water? No, it actually doesn't because it has caffeine. Any drink that has caffeine, you can't really include with your daily water total because that caffeine acts as a diuretic and it's actually going to dehydrate you. So you do need to drink water to get that hydration. Tea doesn't count. There's another one here actually about electrolytes, and it's great. I saw that Sharon posted on our Facebook page about electrolytes, and it was great to see that because I do recommend electrolytes. I've got an example here actually. So this is the one, this is a nice one. I think keto stores sell this too. The Musashi one, that's a good brand. And Sharon's got those lovely sachets that they sell. They're yummy as well. In the beginning, again, when you're first starting, it can be really helpful to have an electrolyte. If you're sweating a lot, it's very helpful. I just find that it makes water taste quite pleasant, and it's just a nice change from drinking plain water sometimes. But it does help because you don't want water just gushing through you, going through you without actually hydrating you. And you don't want to risk that your minerals get imbalanced. That's quite important. It can be serious. I don't know if you remember, it was a few years ago now, there was a New Zealand walker in the Olympics. He was doing the walk and he collapsed and had a terrible, terrible accident there. And apparently it was because he'd drunk too much water. I don't know if he was having electrolytes, but yeah, interesting. So I think drinking too much water may not be beneficial either. And if you are going through a period where you're needing more water, I would recommend at least one serve of electrolytes because that's like your little insurance policy of just making sure that everything's staying balanced. Now, the last topic, we've got a few minutes left, alcohol. I've saved the best for last. As I've said, here at Why Wait, the alcohol talk comes out a lot, and I do not have judgment at all because I have seen some people who can drink a lot and lose weight, which is wonderful. To be honest, I'm like, well, you know what? Good for you. Your life, your journey. If your liver can process alcohol and burn fat, you lucky person. Like that's great because our liver is there for a purpose. Now, it might not be that case for them forever, but for right now, if they're happy and they're achieving their goal, it's fine by me. I'm not going to judge. All that matters to me is that a person gets results in a way that they're happy with, right? So they don't quit. Get it? Anyway, so if your liver can do both, well, I need you to give a high five to your liver and say thank you. But a lot of people can't, and it's a tricky one because we might have been able to get away with it when we were younger. But as we get older, our liver's older, our whole system's changed, and your liver, you ask a lot of your liver if we expect it to detox poison, right, which alcohol is, and then we want it to process our hormones. And then we want it to detox. We might have had some chemicals in some food that we ate. And now can you please burn some fat? Is that all right, liver? I know you're really busy and tired, and I've been asking you to, process poison for the last 25 years. But can we please just burn some fat now? Because I want to start losing weight. So I think it really comes down to the health of your liver. For me personally, I always loved a good beverage or two, I have to say. It was never my, shall we say, addictive choice. I always could control the alcohol to a point. I love my bubbles, but alcohol was never my compulsion, shall we say. Mine was sugar, right? I'm the sugar person. So I've always been okay with alcohol. I am one of those people who can have a drink and not drink more. So that's awesome. But I'll tell you what I couldn't do is have a drink and then not want to eat food. So a glass of bubbles goes into Cheryl, and dare I say it, I get quite lively on the bubbles. It's like one of my clients says, the bubbles go in, the fun comes out. Yes, I'm a bit like that. However, the fun might come out, but Cheryl's hand comes out as well. And the kids are eating chips, and Cheryl's like, yeah, I'll have some chips. Woo! Never mind the salad. I'll be in for a bit of that. Like this hand just starts going on its own little agenda. I often would compare it to like me drinking alcohol was like the door of the garage going up. Like if the door of the garage is my discipline and self-control, the minute I start sipping alcohol, woo, the door just goes up, and guess what? The food comes in. So I decided when I got to 40, I was realizing that those couple of drinks in the weekend and the consequential food, I just couldn't sustain it anymore, because I'd start the week 1.5 kilos heavier. Now, when I was younger, that 1.5 kilos be gone by Wednesday. No problem. Get the 40s and it's like, holy shit, it's Friday and I still haven't lost the weight from the weekend. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. So that was when I decided, actually, it'll make my life a lot easier to not drink. So I stopped drinking, which was 9 years ago. And about the only time I drink now is Christmas. The bubbles go in on Christmas Day and the fun does come out. There is some very funny videos that my family have. Hopefully they'll never post, because let's just say there's a bit of tabletop dancing. Cheryl has a very good time. So yeah, that's Christmas Day. That's one day and I really enjoy it, and then it's over. And I really don't drink otherwise, because I just really enjoy waking up feeling good. And for me, when I drink, that it just takes that good feeling away. But how I get by in situations to not drink is by making the most of the beautiful alcohol-free alternatives that are available. This is one. I love this Warner's Pink Gin. It's a gin alternative. I drink that with diet tonic and ice and heaps of lemon. You can get this at the supermarket. I've also got non-alcoholic bubbly, and this one doesn't have sugar. This Thompson and Scott Nothing Naughty, or is it just called Naughty? Got a few bottles of that waiting for when I have something to celebrate. This one's low sugar. So there are options coming on board all the time now if you want to cut back on alcohol. The other question I was asked was, is it worth drinking the low-carb alcohol drinks? When someone asks me that, I always say, well, do you like them? You know, if you really enjoy them, then yeah, drink them, because initially it's probably going to be a bit of a win, because you are cutting back on calories and things. But at the end of the day, if your liver still has to process alcohol, you're not going to be winning in terms of your metabolism. So if you enjoy those drinks, drink them. If not, don't. And in fact, my overall advice with alcohol is drink what you like. Don't try and make alcohol healthy. It's not. But it's probably, if you're having it as a celebration, it's good for your soul, bloody enjoy it. Don't try and make it healthy. Drink the poison, but make it bloody yummy, and don't do it very often. That's my advice, because you want to give your liver as many alcohol-free days as possible so that it can get to the job you want it to do, which is burn fat. And I think if we all saved our alcohol just for celebrating rather than medicating, there wouldn't be a problem. You know, when we're younger, it starts often as celebrating, doesn't it? But as we go through stress, what happens? The medicating. You know, my husband, dare I say it, is the perfect example. You know, when he started his own business, every afternoon we're starting to go this couple of beers for stress management. And it's a real shame, because it's very common. It's commonly encouraged in our culture. And it's not good. It's not good, ladies. It's not. We can try and sugarcoat it all we want, but if you keep putting poison in, it ain't going to have a good result. You know, you can't expect top health when you're poisoning yourself. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about alcohol. If you're still watching, I hope it's just given you a bit of food for thought, something else to think about. And remember, there's no right and wrong. There's no golden rule that can apply to you. It's your journey, your joy, your choices. I just want to arm you with a bit more detail, a bit more knowledge, some different areas to think about so you can make a good choice and you're happy with your goal. Awesome. Well, I hope that's been useful, and I'm going to go now make myself another drink. All that talking, I need some water. Come on, fat burning, let's happen. Hey, have a fantastic day. And I'm going to post, I might go down to see Keto by Dee this afternoon. So if she's not too busy, I'm going to do a live from down there, and keep in touch. I'd love to see what your favorite drinks are. So comment on our page.